Mr. Chair, I'd like to speak briefly on some of the SOPs that we've put forward, which do deal with harm minimisation. And in the regulatory concessions, as we've heard, the deal includes a nod towards harm minimisation, including increasing the number of host responsibility staff that they will have, that SkyCity will have on the floor. Currently they have 3, and they're going to very generously double that to 6 to cope with the extra 230 pokey machines and the extra 12 automated gambling tables which have 20 seats at them each, and as well as the 40 extra gambling tables. So they're going to have 6 people who will be responsible for checking to make sure that people are not harmed by the gambling that is taking place on those gambling machines. Interesting thing is, though, is that they haven't done very well so far. They haven't done very well because, as we know, 40% of all the profits that SkyCity makes comes from people with problems with their gambling, with no control over their gambling. So increasing the number of staff that they've got on the floor is not going to do much at all to reduce gambling harm. As well as that, they've also introduced the ticket in, ticket out. That's part of the concessions, which, as I've said before, is, money for jam for money launderers. However, that's one of the things that they're wanting to introduce. But that actually means that there's less staff actually dealing with money, so there's less staff on the floor anyway looking at what's going on in terms of being able to identify people who are experiencing difficulties with their gambling behaviour. So some of the SOPs that we've put forward, and my colleague, co-leader Materia Ture, has already discussed the harm minimisations around player tracking, real-time player tracking, and pre-commitment, mandatory pre-commitment cards. But another one in my name is around the hours of opening. I have an SOP which is about ensuring that no gambling takes place between 4 a.m. and 8 a.m. Now this, to some extent, is not a big issue, and in fact SkyCity should just do this voluntarily without it being in legislation, because the only type of gambling that occurs between 4 in the morning and 8 in the morning is problem gambling. The person who is standing in front of a pokey machine crying at 4:45 a.m. is not crying from happiness. You can be sure of that.
Not tears of joy.
Now, if we consider that inside a casino, it's dark, you can't see the sky, you don't know one doesn't know what time of the day it is. There are no clocks. There are maybe 3 people lurking about somewhere, possibly 6, although they have to cover a 24-hour day, who may be able to identify that this person has a problem, but we're not banking on that. Well, maybe SkyCity is banking on that, but we're not banking on that as a way of being able to identify somebody who is experiencing difficulty with their gambling. Giving a small break in the gambling between 4 a.m. and 8 a.m. means that that gambler can go home and actually have a think about what is happening to their lives. The 24-hour operation and the opportunity to gamble 24 hours a day is one of the reasons why 2 out of 5 people who regularly use pokey machines become addicted. The absolute opportunity, and this is a 24-hour opportunity, to spend everything they've got plus more, and to carry on playing in order to win back the money they've lost, as my colleague over here says. To keep going. These are very scary things that happen to people when they are in a casino. And if we are doing a deal, which we are, this government is doing a deal with SkyCity, which will increase the opportunities for gambling harm, then we should be ensuring that we have pieces of legislation inside this deal that reduce and attempt to put some controls, some brakes on the voracious desire to make a profit out of people's misery. Mr. Chair, we also have an SOP relating to the proceeds of crime. In previous speeches, I have talked about the fact that that casinos are basically a magnet for crime. It's a place where money can get cleaned. So it can be, Mr Chair, Mr Chair, Mr Chair,
The Honourable
Mr Chair.
Damien O'Connor, 20
Thank
years
you very
in
much.
Parliament. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Mr Chairman.